like, you know, don't say it's the Occupy Detroit space and Occupy Detroit block. But I feel like this is going to be addressed this Saturday because my understanding is I just came from a meeting with some folks from the SMU group, owner, and, you know, someone that speaks to the specific languages. But is that the truth is going to make a proposal to the General Assembly about that space, you know, and it'll be an on-conference space. That like alleviates Occupy Detroit from like figuring out like legal and financial liability for that space. And it addresses my concern about what Tucker is saying about subverting what I think is one of the pillars of this movement is a democratic, correctly democratic, accountable, transparent, power-sharing process. You can't do something, you know, outside of that process and then say you're perfect. So if the collective then comes in and says, hey guys, this is up. We would like you to consent to separate independent space. This I would say going on. No more issue as far as I 100% support that, you know, and I think it might be a great model that other people can think about.
I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but you put your hand up before it.
I think what I was going to say to already address, I think beginning of application and communication and that kind of plan really strange, especially with cameras not here versus internet or apps. So then when I was going to communication with Messenger and people who aren't part of the collective has been really strange as well. But also within the Messenger itself, like communication has been strange. And I think that's where the transparency issues have been kind of confusing because we ourselves have been trying to organize who we are to address you guys.
Sure. And then I have you, Sarah. No, you have to come in. And no.
Yeah, I think, with the approach going forward, and the use of the independent state that the occupied and I agree with what Mark and Sarah said discussing, I believe that people were operating within mills and this, but honestly, I would like to say that this made it delayed my perspective, the idea that, it just doesn't seem like the work the local collective is operating with transparency and direct capacity internally, the idea that somebody signed a lease and nobody else knew in the collective that happened, that is really concerning to me. And the idea that, I just get the sense that, people ask you about meetings, you said you guys don't really have any actual formal meetings where you make decisions as a collective, and I just never heard of a collective that didn't do that. And so I'm just concerned going forward. And also, I'm sure, I said, the GA, before the one that happened in Chicago Williams Palace, the GA before that, Harris, I was sitting next to the guy from the union that donated that money. I forget which union it is, but, and when he heard that, and although it was called United Detroit, this autonomous thing that was blocked by the General Assembly, that was supposed to be independent, he was shocked and pissed off. He had no idea that was the case. And so that guy got pissed off because he felt misled. And so I'm just really concerned about the way it seems to be operating right now. And it's a sad thing. It's I think it has a lot of potential, a lot of possibility. I really appreciate all the work people put into it. I do think people need to be more aware of the threat consequences.
Are you satisfied with the way that they stated they're not going to let that happen again?
I really am uncomfortable committing to I don't think that's necessary.
Okay, no, that's fine. I think he wants to respond to you so that we can talk about that. Okay, but all right, go ahead.
Okay, well, we're going to keep on back.
Well, all eyes are on, I hope Occupy Detroit know, all eyes are on you, okay? Even Metro Times has done an article on Occupy Detroit. So Occupy Detroit is on the map, okay, as far as the country is concerned. Now, these divisions, 1% against the 99%. This is what is going on in Occupy Detroit. Okay? This is a unified body. All eyes are on you. Get this issue resolved. Because what it does is contradict what your whole purpose is, which is 1% against the 99%. And you mean to tell me that 1% in Occupy Detroit is against 99% of Occupy Detroit? Come on! Straighten it out. It's got to be straightened out because all eyes are on you. And people that you don't even know are watching you that may want to join the group. And it's all about the numbers. It's all about the masses. So you can't let 1%, okay, destroy the group, which, and if the 1% destroys the group and you get fragmented, then it's over. It's a wrap, okay? And this is a big movement that needs to move on now. You got issues now, like for instance, squatters. This is a whole new issue, and I'm telling you, the squatters are going to do something. So if you don't fund them, then you really shoot yourself in the foot. Because the squatters are going to do something in the neighborhood. Okay, you need to get, this is all what Occupy was discussing a few weeks ago, is how we're going to get in the neighborhood. How are we going to connect with the neighborhood? Okay, okay, fun, yeah, you don't have that much fun, okay? And I understand that the group is trying to establish, I don't know, something legal, okay? But Occupy Detroit was never legal. It was always to occupy and to take it. So that needs to be on the forefront. 1% cannot dictate to the 99% occupation.
Okay, really awesome. Let me take one moment because I wanted to use this as an example because everything you said is awesome and everything that you said is awesome. Everybody here is making great points. But the reason why I didn't want to have staff and wanted to have back and forth just a little bit is that now he's had no opportunity to answer the questions or the concerns that you had, so no communication has taken place. And then, well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's why this isn't a General Assembly, and it's meant to be a mediation conversation, so that everything you've said can be then dealt with him, and then everybody that's here, so that everybody understands each other. That's what my goal was. Point of information.
I don't think it's possible to resolve and address every single concern in that process.
No, but I think that we're making progress.
Now we're off track. Get back on track.
Okay.
Can I ask when you're trying to get on stack that you don't go like this?
It was so awesome that
And make eye contact with me.
I'm feeling really jazzed about being on stack.
Okay, real quick, I'm Rick from Medical. I'm sorry for my non-presence lately, but I've been busy with schools and I'm back. Talk with me. What I would like to propose, and I guess this isn't the body, but Medical hasn't had a presence lately. 5900 building seems to be the logical place to set up Medical. Okay, and I understand there's divisions, 5900 against this. Medical, there is no divisions with Medical. Everybody to me is occupied. Okay, so I'm looking for the blessing of this group, or do I bring it up as a proposal in the TA? Okay, but that's what I intend to do, and I want your support. Because I want to start moving all our materials from the church, get them up there, and get a first-class medical station set up at 5900.
Okay. Then we have,
I just want to say something. Our communication is going to be very important among the group. Our communicating among one another is going to be very important among this group, among the whole occupied situation. If we can't communicate with one another, we're going to have a problem. Why is we out here? What's the reason why we out here? We're going to have to communicate with one another so we can understand one another a lot more better. That's all I have to say. It's very important that we understand.
I'd really like to say something about autonomy, because I think it's critical to this discussion.
Real quick.
And I think it's in response to a
Yeah,
lot of
all right. I'm going to get in stack for a personal statement. Put somebody in, whoever's next in stack, but
okay.
I think I've got to
Next is Katie, then Jessica.
Oh, okay. So, first of all, I just wanted to say that the General Assembly doesn't allow for discussions like this. So I think this is really great. And second, I just had a question about Unite Detroit saying, they want to offer this space So how would you go about, say I want to use this space, how would I go about, doing that? I mean, do I go through the GA, do I just show up,
So could
how do you
somebody from
approve?
the director
Stand up, please.
So, I understand communication really been jacked up, because I've been a victim of miscommunication myself. So there's a couple of points I wanted to clear. As far as Krista, she was misled by someone else who was not a part of the collective about the whole thing, and had come down and dropped off to our apartment. And he was in a clear area, he apologized to us, he apologized to him, and all that was clear. So, that's one point. The second point is there was no date signed. There was an agreement that we would be janitorial people within the building to kind of keep it available. There is a proposal being worked on within the collective. I don't want to speak on behalf of everyone, but there's a proposal being worked on so we can put it out there hopefully on Saturday, so that the process is the proper process, that we're not, not doing what we came here to do. So I hope that clears up some stuff. There are weekly meetings Monday at 7 o'clock at the 59 building that everyone is welcome to. The door's open. If anyone who's on questions that they want to answer, there's email, there's a kind of website built, and there's a Facebook, so that we have more internet appearance for people and availability, so there's more transparency. As far as utilizing the space, you just shoot an email to that email, contact someone. So we're trying to make it so that we're available for any questions, anything to be clear, and there's no more inner conflict, because we're all part of the occupation as well as this now collective. I think it's really important that we come back together and unite with each other, and answer all the questions that need to be answered, and make sure that we're backing each other up. That's what we came here to do in the first place. So I guess that's really all I want to say.
Do you want to answer that question though? How did you get?
There's an email, it's uniteddetroit@googlegroups.com, you would send it there. We're trying to get volunteers. Anybody wants to volunteer, we need people to be there at the space to keep it open. So it doesn't, you come in as Joe Blow or somebody from Occupy or whatever you want to do, but there needs to be volunteers to keep the space open, because the people within the collective also have jobs and things like that as well, so it's hard to consistently keep somebody in the building for 10 hours a day by themselves. We're trying to make it super inclusive so everyone is part of it. It's not just this small group of people that no one knows anything about, mysterious, like this costume-wearing people. It's not the light against the dark. We're all in this movement, so we're keep moving forward. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I guess to add to that, is there like a way you approve of like?
No, if you want to use the space, use the space.
Okay.
Not like, you can't do this here because there's time on the calendar open, or you don't want to sit down.
Okay. Jessica, you were next on stack, but did you say what you wanted to say?
Yeah, I said what I wanted to say.
Okay. And then I have, I have Justin, and then Mark.
And then Jared. Jared's the guy in the ring just after you ask the question.
It would help me if somebody was like, if you could say,
Sure, yeah.
at least 4 people.
Okay.
So people know.
Yeah, no problem. So, Justin, Martin? Mark, sorry.
Everybody, my name is Tucker. We'll go by Tucker.
Tucker. Then Nina, then Coffee.
Where am I on this?
Oh, you're, you're
Oh,
next after Coffee.
Good.
I'd like to start by saying again that I live at 5900. The people at 5900 have wonderful intentions, and I consider them all my only friends right now because I come from a very small family, and most of my friends are political and rising political. What separates Occupy Detroit from every other group of people that's better this country, better the city of Detroit, is that it offers to be a movement governed by the 99%. The General Assembly offers an avenue for anyone who is a billionaire to come in, sit down, have their voice heard, and have a say in what the Occupy movement is having to do, which is represent the 99% as a whole. That's what I believe separates it from all the other people who have stepped up in the past and said they want to change things radically. My concern is that with this new group, I had no idea, and I believe unilateral decisions are being made in this person. I found out at Tuesday's General Assembly that a document was signed. I found, and I heard through the grapevine that this wouldn't happen again. And then I come to this meeting and find out something new has been signed, or at least has been signed. And but my question going forward is, what does United Detroit plan to do to make itself accessible to everybody? And Occupy Detroit represents it's almost like a trial run of a new form of government, where everybody has a say. It really separates it from every other nonprofit and L3C that the form. So what's United Detroit plan to decisions in the future?
The discussions that I've been in, what we've been going over is the small group breakout where we all just kind of get into the cluster and focus on students having on multiple different tasks where we can just get together and brainstorm it and start putting it into implementation. The communications aspect is the part that's the missing link in making the direction most of things are developing rapidly. And this group has part of the focus of this group is to facilitate rapid progression on important things. And so I think that really part of what we're going back to, what I wanted to soapbox for a second on is that autonomy brought us all together. Okay? Us acting independently, nobody told us to show up in this movement. Nobody told us that we had to be here, or had to camp, or had to potentiate. Autonomy led us all to this. Autonomy keeps us in it. Okay? So, people having a problem with the group having autonomy is freedom. And if we're not about freedom, I don't know what the hell we're doing here.
Right. I don't want to try and stack out any longer, but can I do it? Go ahead and respond. Go ahead. I somewhat agree with you on that, but at the first General Assembly, we consent to making decisions entirely as a whole in the General Assembly. I understand that it's very ad hoc, it changes all the time, there's different groups of people there, and I'm not sure how sustainable this is going to be years down the road with Occupy. But for now, the consensus process is very limited, and everything happens so slowly. But when everything does happen, everybody's on the same page and move forward. And that's something that I believe United Detroit moving forward is lacking right now.
I'll agree that we're a little bit, are a lot further in the hairs and the tortoise, but
you guys are in a position where you can talk to go ahead, and I totally want them to be aired out, but like if it gets really long, then you can totally talk to him anytime. That was coffee.
That's right, that's my friend Tucker.
Okay, friendly observation. Small groups move faster, and some things need to move fast. Occupy Detroit, using consensus building process. The bigger the group is, the slower it moves. That's just the nature of the beast. It can be maddening, it can be frustrating, but in the end, the whole group is moving together. So small groups can move faster. What I've heard from many people is a shared concern going to money. If a small group is soliciting donations from outside groups, unions, et cetera. If they wish to be autonomous, then they have to be completely autonomous. So I just want to be crystal clear tonight with everybody that if Unite Detroit is an autonomous group, collective, whatever you want to call yourselves, that in no way are they using the Occupy name for the donations. I want to be really clear on this.
Okay.
With the last statement that this same problem is happening with other groups. I only sat in with Direct Action for a minute, and that group is having a similar problem. I know other groups are having similar problems where groups are rising up. They're doing an action here, this group is doing another action, and there's some cross-pollination. One group laying claim to the successes of another group is fine when everything is good, but when something goes bad, it's going to go horribly bad. So let's make sure that we have a clear separation before we have a PR disaster national.
Okay, Nina, Coffee, Tristan, Kyle.
Okay, so I have two clarifying questions about things I'm confused about within the 5900 space / Unite Detroit. Like, first of all, are those the same thing? Like, is everybody who lives in 5900 part of Unite Detroit? And are all the Unite Detroit people living in 5900? Did I get like a...
No.
Okay.
No.
And both parts of that?
Yes.
Okay. My other question is like, when you guys start calling yourselves an affinity group, my understanding was that we could like function in a lot of ways without consensus of the GA. And so I'm a little bit confused now that you started changing to being a collective, like what that means, like what each of those definitions mean to you guys, what's the affinity group to you, what's the collective, how have things changed? So I don't know, the structure is really confusing me, but can somebody answer that now?
I don't want to feel back.
Kyle has his hand up.
I just want to take a stab at that. I can't speak on behalf of everyone, but I think there was concern from Occupy Detroit that this group was acting out of line and that they should not be using Occupy Detroit's name. And so that was taken to heart that efforts to kind of establish that we're not trying to use the Occupy Detroit banner for anything like that. Detroit is supportive of, that was generally taken to heart and did what we could to kind of create a clear divide while still being a part of Occupy Detroit ourselves in the business.
Clarify a point on that really quick so to make sure everybody got what you said, because I've talked to a lot of people about that, and essentially this kind of plays to what he was suggesting, or maybe it was him over there. It's like, why are you guys leaving? Do you not like us anymore? That's like creates this anger thing. And what you guys were actually doing was that you were trying to separate yourself so that everybody else was not held accountable for anything you did that they didn't like. That was their intention.
What's that what being an affinity group was? I don't catch the difference. Like, an affinity group is a group of activists that get together that are like-minded that want to work on direct action. So the affinity group ideal was when we had a camp meeting and it was decided that all the resources came to leave, there was a bunch of people, like Coffee said, that had worked on getting them all over the space. Now, a lot of people don't know what that space looked like before. There were dead rats swimming through garbage and super-wearing jumpers and respirators cleaning out the space to food space. From then, we created an affinity group so that we could continue to keep the space clean and keep the resources safe for the occupation. And then it turned into us becoming in this janitorial position and where we wanted to hold the space. So we wanted to move forward into a collective and we couldn't make decisions as an affinity group on behalf of the occupation. We made a collective
basically why they're getting a proposal worked out with the collective, that so there's that time pushing that proposal into the general assembly, we can't really like jump in, you know, make, you're going to make a unilateral decision, on behalf of these people. So until, you know, everyone in the quote-unquote collective consents on the proposal and compares it, so we're actually staff in alignment with the movement, we can't move forward with it. So that's the differences between the two. There was really no serious intent to undermine or, you know, backstab or be like, we're doing this by ourselves. It's just not it. Like, this, I'm going to do this until I'm, like, not able to walk if I can, like old lady. And I want to make sure that I'm in alignment with everyone that's wanting to do this and not, like, going off in small separate groups and trying to do something.
All right, so we have, coffee, Tristan, and Neil.
So just, I just want to make a quick announcement on what's happening. So, there's a group called the District Facilitation Guild, and one of the main people from that, Jacob Corbidet, is doing a training on Monday, it's at 3663 Woodward, and there's an RCP, but it's titled, "Does Consensus Process Make You Want to Just Gnaw Your Arm Out to Get Away? Come to this training and learn how to do it so you don't want to die." So that is something that a bunch of people from the facilitation working group are going to, and I would invite all you guys. I'll write that information down. Jacob is an excellent trainer, so I would highly recommend that to everybody. And so there's like two comments and then like my observation, which is, you know, on the scale of anarchism, as I understand it, there's like individualist anarchists who believe in no rules, and then social anarchists that believe in no rulers, you know. And so for me, you know, like on the one hand where it's like everybody does whatever they want, that's not really where I see myself. I see myself in a position of, you know, we don't want bosses telling us what to do, but we need to work together in order to get somewhere. And there's a really good article called The Tyranny of Structurelessness. I forget the author's name, but it was written in the 70s about the women's movement, about the idea of if you don't have a transparent structure of power, then that power structure will develop informally, and people don't know what it is. And so it's really important that whatever the power structure is, that people know what it is, otherwise it's unaccountable. And to me, land is power. Money, I don't give a shit about money. What I give a shit about is land. You know, and so that's why when the affinity group came, or the collective came to the General Assembly and was like, we're making this announcement that our stage, you want to use it, I was ready to be like, you know what, I quit. Done with occupy everything, I'm never coming back. We're never going to recover from this. It's over, I'm done. But since then, the collective has agreed to bring up a proposal, you know, like I feel like this is a learning process for all of us. And I've also learned that, you know, the locations working group actually has a bajillion spaces for us to look at. You know, and so what I'm interested in is, number one, looking at, you know, contributing to what's already happening in looking at like a large public space SWAT, and also creating an Occupy Detroit space that operates under the principles that represent our values. You know, not saying that this collective doesn't, and that I will still support that change. You know, but I would like for us to create an Occupy Detroit space. You know, like in the meantime, you know, we can be supporting this collective, we can be using this space, we can be doing all of these things simultaneously, in my opinion.
No, go ahead and clarify the question. I'll wait my position a sec.
I just want to know, is this the only place that we have where you actually go organize? Is it anywhere else in occupation?
Right here.
This place? Here? I mean, you know.
My house, sometimes.
Yes. So, we can set hours.
Make a point. Maybe that's if there are others. Yeah, that I know. Okay. All right.
Just someone who stepped in on the notification meeting. There are several other places. I think there's between 6 to 7 locations that are on the table, whose owners are backing us. But the details of those are slowly being worked out. I think Saturday might offer some more light on those places.
Tristan?
Was I answer, Sarah?
think it was Tristan, well, you,
Yeah, we're reversed.
yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay. The reason I got a stack to do this is because I get this feeling from some people, I'm getting like these kind of negative vibes, like I'm some kind of tyrant or something for trying to do it this way. I want to make something clear so that people understand my perspective. I've watched like 4 GAs go by, and this elephant in the room that is the 5900 issue has been sitting there, and the GAs are not dealing with it, okay? Because give you a little bit of my background. When I ran for Congress, I studied governmental systems, trying to design them and look at them and figure out how they work. One of the major weaknesses of a system like we have is that it doesn't deal well with emergency situations because we can't hold a General Assembly to deal with the places on fire. And if people are then angry because we didn't have a General Assembly because 1515 was on fire, you know, it's obviously not practical. And I think that the 5,900 people kind of felt the situation was on fire. They were worried, okay? And another major problem that I've noticed is that in the leaderless movement, one of the roles of the leader tends to be trying to get people to sit down and exchange and then resolve things. And I'm not seeing the General Assembly do that. Like, I'll give you an example, because one of the reasons I kept letting it go and just didn't say anything was hopefully to demonstrate it. He got so alienated and angry that he had to storm out of the room because 3 or 4 people got to talk and say something that he really wanted to respond to. And at that point, the system of stack actually became tyrannical because he can't speak about something that's really bothering him. And that's the reason we're having these problems. It's why, like he pointed out, I set it up the way it is because what I'm noticing in General Assembly is a lot of people are waiting to talk, and then they're sounding off. And then the information that they share with everyone may not even actually be getting exchanged to the people that it needs to be exchanged with. So, like, what that guy said and then what she said, for example, he didn't have a chance to respond to any of that, and neither did anybody else in 5,900. So, all the stuff that he could have maybe shared with that person to resolve that issue was lost as fact. Okay? So, you know, I don't want to force anybody to do anything. I told everybody, like, you know, it's in the system that we had that I wanted to do things a little more openly because this is a mediation. But I can tell you, if you were trying to sit the Palestinians and the Israelis down, General Assembly is not the system I would use.
So, I got 2 things. One thing, I just want to make it clear. Friction is a part of life. Stop being afraid of it. Like, these processes are nasty and, you know, can, like, be your asshole. But, here, daily struggle and friction is part of life. You just have to deal with it and just stick through it. And I know how it feels to have people ask you, questions that you may not think are smart questions, or like redundant questions, or even questions that aren't even genuine, because I've had all of them. So, but, okay, so far as the process, that's just part of life. And if I wasn't, I just would kill myself, and that would be not be a part of anything. So, like, the reason why I say that is because, like, I feel like there's, like, too much of a, I am glad that the collective form as a collective was able to, because I think that was the way to deal with this situation. There's a group of people who want 5,900 separate and apart from Occupy Detroit. That was the only way to go, as opposed to what was happening, which was subterfuge of the Occupy Detroit process. And this seems to be the solution. And people should recognize that as the solution. That the collective is the collective that will participate in the occupation, and occupation can participate with the collective, but they are 2 separate entities with 2 separate, and the collective will work on their internal so they can let us know for transparency's sake, like, you know, process, because the GA has ours. But I think people need not to be afraid when those things happen, because that's just a part of life. And I'm in there. Everyone knows that. And our test is made, and a lot of people like this, a lot of people hate it, and I don't care about any of it. But, like, to me, like, I understand, like, the difference between the two. And I think there's a way to really live in a way that's coexisting. And just to clarify, so the collective, as the collective in terms of money, has its own monetary account, right? So that way, that's whatever you call it, that's the way that they're trying to deal with money. And we should just make it clear, Occupy Detroit as well, that, you know, like anyway, we'll make sure that everyone understands. The 5,900 place applies
that movement will move, and that we're not too afraid when friction happens, and that we just sit there and figure it out. And there might be some people, there might be some friction that antagonisms that just aren't going to melt, and that's okay. And polarization is a good thing, because it means you know which side to stand on.
Can we have direct response?
Yeah, and it's really kind of an addition to what you're saying, not at all in conflict. We have Wildlings here. We have SAM here. We have UAW, AFL, CIO, and all manner of other organizations participating with this movement. If the real issue is the timing of the formation of this group, not the participation of outside groups, I think some people need to think about that a little bit and reconsider what the position is in accordance with that. Because we already have a lot of other groups that are components of this that are participating.
Next on deck is Kyle, Jennifer, and Nathan.
Well, what I meant to say, that when you're having sex with her stuff, I was saying that I hope everyone recognizes that even though, mistakes have been made, because of you guys, this is a new process for all of us, that anything that has been done, at least on your own behalf, was done to the best of intention, not to result or any other group other than that protecting and I need that change.
Who's next?
Justin. Oh, I'm Jennifer, Nathan, and then this gentleman is back.
I just wanted to say that, I've been doing organizing and team work for a long time. One of the things I do a lot is peace education with children, and I often sit around with a group of adults arguing and saying we need peace education for adults. And so I want you all to know what's happening right here is very normal. And it's very healthy that we're addressing it so early. And it makes me feel really good to look around this room and see the people who are present, because so many of you are what I see of the leaders of this movement. And so it's exciting. I also look around this room and I see a lot of close friends, even after just 3 months. Like Jessica, I want to be involved in the movement like an old lady, and I want to build these friendships even deeper. And I love the people at Michigan Avenue, and I love people who are all over the place, and I haven't picked any sides on all of them. I echo what I heard Sarah came in late. She was one of the first persons that was speaking when I came in, and what Kyle just said too, is I think that the people who did it quickly for the best interest, all I have felt in the last couple of weeks is that they've really been trying to push open communication, transparency, and letting people into the space. I've heard that both through personal messages, messages to the GA, Facebook, and so everybody's here, we're doing the right thing, let's move forward.
Next on deck is Nathan, then this gentleman in the back, and then Joe.
Okay, so I also wanted to say that on the subject of the perceived lack of transparency and the other issues going around, almost each and every one of us who's in this affinity group has been subject to personal attacks, lots of trolling, lots of assault, and if you've seen us withdrawing, are you really that shocked that people that are getting smacked around for trying to do something for everybody are withdrawing from everyone? Isn't that shocking? I think it's pretty normal human response. I know that I personally was signed off of a bunch of groups that I was in Facebook this week because I was tired of being attacked by people who are just making shit up. I'm sick of it. And lack of transparency, how about someone asks a question instead of mounting assault? That's how you get answers. You don't attack somebody to find out how their day was.
Get a point of information yet?
Well, it's kind of actually relevant to what he's suggesting, but I'm going to go ahead and wait until it's here, and then I'll give some views to some people that aren't here that I've been dealing with regularly on Facebook, who couldn't be here. So put me on that.
Okay. And then, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Correct.
Correct.
You're up next.
Oh, like now?
Yep. Oh, okay. My main question got answered, so like I don't have any real concerns anymore. So I guess I'm kind of all right. But I think the whole like we're under attack thing. I think there's plenty of back and forth on that. So like just like let's simmer down now because I mean it's all good now. Everyone's here. We don't have to worry about what happened in the past because certainly I know that myself personally was not attacked or like, you know, told that I was somehow lesser because of where I came from. And like, I don't think that there's any place for that. And so everything else I think is fine now, so like, I'm cool.
Joe, and then Coffee, and then.
The other thing was real quick, you know, I like Sarah's feel about, you know, social activism, even though I don't know if that's really fair enough, but I agree with your point about, the idea that, and all this work I believe, I think I'm more comfortable with autonomy as long as it's transparent all the time. Like, if you want to be autonomous, make it transparent that you're autonomous from the beginning, you know, and also, so, this was really quick, I just want to open, like, if anybody who hasn't talked yet, like, I know like the same few people, keep talking, included. If anybody hasn't talked yet, they want to take my 5 remaining seconds, like, somebody hasn't talked yet, want to go?
Yeah, all right, you know, I just want to make this clear. It seems like people are, you know, kind of being short-sighted. So, you know, the group, or the collective rather, you know, I mean, it made some bad choices, but those are never going to happen again, right? That's what we're working for. That's what we're working for, and so I think it's all clear in my mind that we're all working together. We're in the same group. We're all, you know, well, not literally, but we are, you know, we are all working for the same goal. They have their part as the affinity, or I mean, collective, whatever. And we have, you know, our job, and it's all working together. I think that, you know, it's the whole discussion should be over. That's all.
Coffee?
So this gentleman had a question, about the website that you guys can look up, but,
Talking to me about the background.
so I think like one of the things that we should be thinking about is like, what can we learn from this so we don't repeat this mistake? And, you know, I think that one of the things that this, you know, coming from the first meeting of the community organizations that were interested in Impact Detroit, which was called Unite Detroit, there was a guy named Trevor who came, I think he was overwhelmed by the level of internal conflict and didn't actually initiate this group, but he originally suggested an internal conflict resolution working group. And I think it was because he thought that there was going to be some conflict between the people of color who were part of these organizations that were part of the United Detroit meeting and the people who were attending that part. So I just think that, you know, like that, if we could try to get an internal conflict resolution working group, that would be great. And also, you know, just if, you know, as a group, we start to try to hold the culture of, if you have a problem with someone, you don't talk shit behind their back. You don't go get on the internet and talk shit about them. Then you go to that person and you say what your problem is to their face. And the way that we can hold that culture is if somebody comes to you and starts talking shit about something, you're like, hey, you know what? I actually think that I'm not the best person to talk to. Maybe you should go talk to that person. Unless they just want to vent or something and they know that they're just venting. But, and then the other thing is, just to kind of brief because I can't control myself, is on that whole issue of like whether, I know there's always a tension of whether to just let people talk back and forth or whether to take steps. You know, my concern with not having a step is that the people who have the most to say are always the ones who talk. So at
welcome. I'm sorry. As long as you're on a roll and being productive, which you obviously are, either till 2 in the morning. But Crystal isn't going to be here till 2 in the morning. So if anybody wants to grab something, and this would be the time to do it. But I want you to know, as long as you guys are on the roll, don't feel like I'm standing here like this, because I'm not.
All right. Yeah.